Buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning, everybody.
Buondì a tutti.
We have the honor and the privilege of being your masters of ceremonies for today's event. My name is Michalo, and I come from Serbia.
My name is Giovanna and I come from Italy. É um prazer estar aqui, davant alla rapacis di Migei, per celebrar il UWC Day, una ricorrenza così importante per noi. A questo proposito, non so mai giusto e dovuto ringraziare il Corin Sindic Igor Godeas, il suo predecessore Franco Stacul e le autorità comunali per aver renduto possibile tutto questo. Siamo inoltre lieti di avere qui l'assessore della giunta regionale del Friuli Venezia Giulia, Alessia Rosolen, alcuni ex studenti, i membri dello staff, tutti i donatori e gli amici del nostro collegio. Un ringraziamento speciale va poi a tutti i duinesi che da sempre ci accolgono calorosamente nella loro comunità.
Odium parit mortem, vitam progenit amor. Hatred produces death, love generates life. Those are the words written inside this monumental building, Ara Pacis Mundis, erected in 1951, symbolically commemorates soldiers who died in all wars. The bold bronze urn inside holds the soil from 800 foreign and Italian cemeteries. The First World War started, and a century has passed since the beginning of it, which many at the time declare as the war to end all wars. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The Second World War proved to be even more destructive. There are perhaps many reasons worth dying for, but none worth killing for.
Noto anche come Peace One Day, lo UWC Day è una celebrazione annuale della missione e dei valori UWC, che si svolge in coincidenza con la Giornata internazionale della pace delle Nazioni Unite. Tale giornata è particolarmente sentita dal movimento tutto dei collegi del Mondo Unito, dal quale è sempre calorosamente celebrata con numerosi eventi e iniziative. Quest'anno però, il 21 settembre, è per noi del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico un giorno ancora più significativo, in quanto segna il raggiungimento di un importante traguardo, i suoi 40 anni di attività. Ogni anno il Peace One Day si svolge attorno a un tema diverso, un filo conduttore tra le varie celebrazioni, che quest'anno ruoteranno attorno all'idea centrale Peace begins with us. La pace comincia con noi.
And we would like to offer you our warmest welcome from 81 countries.
Starting from Afghanistan
And Albania.
Argentina,
Austria.
Belarus,
Belgium.
Bosnia and Herzegovina,
Brazil.
Bulgaria,
Cambodia.
Canada,
Chile.
China,
Colombia.
Costa Rica,
Croatia.
Cyprus,
Czech Republic.
Denmark,
Egypt.
the Kingdom of Eswatini,
Ethiopia.
Finland,
France.
Germany,
Ghana.
Greece,
Guatemala.
Hong Kong,
Hungary.
India,
Indonesia,
Iran,
Israel,
Iraq,
Italy,
Jamaica,
Japan,
the Kingdom of Jordan,
Kosovo,
Latvia,
Lebanon,
Lithuania,
North Macedonia,
Malaysia,
Malta,
Mexico,
Moldova,
Montenegro,
Mozambique,
the Netherlands,
Nigeria,
Norway,
Palestine,
Paraguay,
Peru,
the Philippines,
Poland,
Portugal,
Romania,
Russian Federation,
Rwanda,
Serbia,
Slovakia,
Slovenia,
South African Republic,
South Sudan,
Spain,
Sweden,
Switzerland,
Syria,
Tanzania,
Tunisia,
Turkey,
United States of America,
Uganda,
Ukraine,
United Kingdom,
Venezuela,
Vietnam,
and Zambia,
and not to forget Friuli Venezia Giulia.
and United Work Colleges. And now we will listen to Maestro Mauro Maur playing Silenzio. Siamo onorati di aver potuto ascoltare il suono della tromba del maestro Mauro Maur, che ci accoglie oggi qui a Medea sulle note di silenzio. Virtuoso della tromba, il maestro Mauro Maur è stato definito il Pavarotti della tromba italiana, avendo contribuito a diffondere nel mondo la sapienza e la tradizione musicale italiana a livello più alto. Abbiamo inoltre appreso che il maestro ha collaborato per più di 20 anni con Ennio Morricone, registrando con la sua tromba molte colonne sonore del famoso compositore italiano.
Now, second-year student Suyet Kret from Cambodia will read the first poem, We Lived Happily During the War, by Ilya Kaminsky. Ilya Kaminsky is a Ukrainian-born poet based in the United States of America and an important voice of deaf community.
We lived happily during the war. And when they bombed other people's houses, we protested, but not enough. We opposed them, but not enough. I was in my bed. Around my bed, America was falling. Invisible house by invisible house by invisible house. I took a chair outside and watched the sun. In the 6th month of a disastrous reign, in the house of money, in the street of money, in the city of money, in the country of money, our great country of money, we, forgive us, lived happily during the war.
Passiamo ora la parola al sindaco Igor Godeas, che ringraziamo nuovamente per averci accolto qui a Medea.
Gentile Presidente Cristina Ravaglia, egregio Rettore Khalid El Metal, autorità, studenti, è con grande piacere che vi porto il mio saluto personale e quello di tutta la comunità di Medea. Sono veramente onorato della vostra presenza nel complesso monumentale dell'Ara Pacis Mundi, nato nel 1951 con l'intento di ricordare simbolicamente i caduti di tutte le guerre. In questa giornata abbiamo il piacere di ospitare, in un luogo così suggestivo e significativo, un importante appuntamento, la cerimonia di apertura del 40° anno accademico del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico. Un'organizzazione che è un esempio per tutti, dove gli studenti che provengono da più di 80 paesi vivono assieme per 2 anni. Un ambiente ideale per favorire un confronto tra persone con culture molto diverse tra loro. Oggi in realtà non nasce una cosa nuova, ma si rinsalda una collaborazione con il collegio già avviata da chi mi ha preceduto. A tal proposito non posso non citare il già sindaco Franco Stacul, oggi qui presente assieme a noi, vero artefice di questo rapporto. Ma è doveroso ricordare anche gli altri amministratori che si sono susseguiti e che hanno sempre creduto in questo momento di condivisione. Medea è sempre stata una comunità sensibile ai temi della pace, dell'accoglienza e della convivenza civile tra i popoli, e i numerosi eventi organizzati in questo sito ne sono testimoni. Desidero però rivolgermi ai ragazzi, veri protagonisti di questo appuntamento. Per tutti noi, il collegio che frequentate ha il grande merito di invitare a riflettere su cosa sia una società multiculturale e nello stesso tempo attrezzare voi giovani a vivere in questa nuova realtà. Rapportarsi con persone che provengono da altri paesi costringe a ripensare a noi, ai nostri tratti culturali, alle somiglianze e alle differenze con quelle di altri popoli, agli elementi costitutivi della nostra e dell'altrui identità. Una grande opportunità per scoprire la necessità di un'educazione interculturale, portare una riflessione che permetta Da una parte di conoscere le culture diverse, individuando e rimuovendo i pregiudizi che ne impediscono l'incontro, dall'altra di capire meglio, nel confronto tra le culture, i valori e gli aspetti salienti della nostra. E in questo il Collegio del Mondo Unito è un'eccellenza. Ma l'impatto con persone, lingue, culture diverse ha anche un altro merito. Vi fa riflettere sul grande tema della diversità, tema purtroppo non ancora affrontato adeguatamente nemmeno dalle istituzioni preposte, e che vi consentirà di rapportarvi con gli altri con un'altra prospettiva. Non dimenticatevi che la formazione interculturale ha una grande finalità educativa e la scuola, in particolare, deve formare giovani che siano capaci di vivere in un mondo pacifico e democratico, nei confronti di qualunque tipo di diversità. Questo è quello a cui una società moderna deve ambire. Ma non si può non riconoscere che sul piano soggettivo l'incontro con le diversità possa risultare faticoso. Forza ragazzi, dedicate le vostre energie anche a questo. Il futuro è nelle vostre mani. Diventate, come dice uno dei principi del vostro movimento, portatori di un cambiamento concreto e positivo. E se vorrete condividere questo percorso assieme a noi, a Medea le porte saranno sempre aperte.
Grazie signor Sindaco. Siamo onorati di avere oggi con noi l'assessore regionale all'istruzione Alessia Rosolén. Nel ringraziare la Regione Friuli Venezia Giulia per la lungimiranza con cui ha istituito il collegio e per il supporto che da sempre ci accorda, invitiamo l'assessore Rosolén sul podio.
Grazie e buongiorno a tutti. Ero terrorizzata di dover parlare in inglese e così ora ringrazio l'ambasciatore Ravaglia perché mi ha restituito il testo in italiano e mi dà la possibilità di confrontarvi e di raccontarvi cose importanti che io in maniera molto più diretta che penso rispetto al Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico. Saluto innanzitutto il presidente, il rettore, il sindaco, le autorità, i tanti sostenitori che vedo qui presenti del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico, perché come sempre, come ultimamente in maniera molto più forte appare evidente, per ottenere un risultato gli attori in campo sono molteplici e per riuscire ad ottenere un risultato così importante non è stato fondamentale solo l'istituzione e il trasferimento dei fondi, è stata fondamentale la collaborazione, è stata fondamentale l'esistenza di un territorio che era pronto ad accogliere il Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico, che era orgoglioso di accogliere questi ragazzi, che era orgoglioso di sapere che il destino di questo pezzo d'Italia in alto a nord-est era ed è fondamentalmente costituito all'interno dei suoi rapporti, dell'essere luogo di accoglienza, dell'essere luogo di incontro, di essere luogo di incontro di culture molto diverse che qui potevano avere un futuro. Due cose eccezionali sono state fatte dopo la Seconda Guerra Mondiale per questa regione, in parte dopo la Seconda Guerra Mondiale, in parte dopo un altro fatto gravissimo che è stato il terremoto del 76, da cui peraltro è nato il Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico. Il primo è aver deciso di essere luogo di incontro e di incrocio. Il secondo è aver saputo investire sulla scienza. Assieme al Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico si è scelto di non essere una piccola regione a nord-est che all'epoca confinava con la cortina di ferro, ma di essere una regione aperta a tutta una serie di sviluppi che in questo momento sono strategici e fondamentali per quanto riguarda il nostro territorio. Permettetemi ovviamente di ringraziare per questi 40 anni quanti si sono spesi per garantire non solo la riuscita ma la crescita del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico, quanti dal momento della sua fondazione, anzi dal momento dell'inserimento di 2 commi all'interno di una legge di bilancio dello Stato hanno saputo guardare oltre e immaginare un futuro per tutti questi ragazzi. E permettetemi di dire una cosa che mi nasce profondamente dal cuore dopo la sfilata che ho visto all'inizio. Sono d'accordo col signor sindaco per quanto ha detto. Ho visto in questi ragazzi che sono cittadini del mondo la fierezza dell'identità nel trasportare ognuno e nel portare ognuno a noi la propria bandiera. Ecco, questo secondo me è il grande significato di chi da questo collegio del mondo unito esce ed è davvero ambasciatore di questo territorio dell'Italia, del Friuli Venezia Giulia, di Duino sicuramente, all'interno del mondo che affronterà. Un ultimo pensiero ovviamente va al tema della pace, che è la parola chiave di questo 40° anniversario. A lungo abbiamo pensato che fosse una condizione ordinaria e scontata. Anzi, a lungo abbiamo finto che fosse una condizione ordinaria scontata, anche dimenticandoci tante guerre lontane da noi o non seguendole con attenzione, fino a quando 7 mesi fa abbiamo dovuto rivedere un po' le nostre convinzioni e le nostre preoccupazioni e la nostra incertezza sono aumentate. Le guerre portano sicuramente dolore e morte, ma portano anche tutte le speculazioni che abbiamo davanti agli occhi e che hanno ricadute importanti a livello mondiale. Questi eventi come questi ci fanno comprendere come l'educazione, la cultura, la trasmissione di valori che all'interno del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico avviene siano fondamentali per la crescita della consapevolezza che la pace è davvero il valore fondamentale e necessario per ognuno di noi e per la vita di ognuno di noi. Con orgoglio quindi da parte anche del Presidente della Regione Friuli Venezia Giulia, che mi ha chiesto di essere qui presente al suo posto, voglio esprimere vicinanza, gratitudine da parte della Regione Friuli Venezia Giulia, che spero abbia sempre fatto in maniera importante il suo dovere al collegio, garantendo ovviamente il nostro sostegno per offrire a tutti gli studenti meritevoli la possibilità di frequentarlo. Grazie e buon anniversario a tutti.
Si ringraziano la Regione Autonoma Friuli Venezia Giulia, oggi rappresentata dall'assessore regionale al lavoro, formazione, istruzione, ricerca, università e famiglia, Alessia Rosolén, che abbiamo appena avuto il piacere di ascoltare, il Ministero degli Esteri e della Cooperazione Internazionale, che purtroppo non è fisicamente presente oggi, ma da sempre è vicino al collegio, i donatori pubblici e privati, e i numerosi amici del collegio. Senza di voi, UWC Adriatic non sarebbe lo stesso.
The former UWC president, Nelson Mandela, talking about the beginning of his attempt to plant flowers in his garden, said, "The soil in the courtyard was dry and rocky. The courtyard had been constructed over a garbage dump. And in order to start my garden, I had to remove a great many rocks to allow the plants room to grow. At the time, my comrades joked that I was a miner at heart, for I spent my days in a wasteland and my free time digging in the courtyard. Creating peace takes time. It is like hoeing and watering the garden. Flowers, like a peace, cannot grow immediately. We need to move a great many stones to make them heighten. Seeds need to be planted and carefully cultivated. Peace is one really complex venture which some people are willing to undertake. Peace is not only the goal toward we strive, but the means by which we reach that goal. Confidence in effort, modesty in success, grace in defeat, fairness in anger, clear judgment, even in the bitterness of wounded pride, and a readiness for service at all times are not an easy path to pursue. And yet, the outcome becomes clearer once we step into the UWC, which exists because of these ideas and challenges, because peace begins with us.
Esattamente 40 anni fa, nel 1982, David Sutcliffe, come un perito giardiniere, ha seminato, non senza fatica, fiori di straordinaria diversità nel nostro collegio, ciascuno portatore di lingue, culture ed esperienze uniche. Sulla rocciosa riviera falesia di Duino, Sutcliffe, grazie alla guida visionaria dell'allora presidente Corrado Belci e grazie all'instancabile lavoro dell'allora segretario generale Giorgio Pontoni, ha piantato e coltivato con cura i semi del nostro collegio. Ma è solo grazie a tutti coloro che ci hanno creduto con lui che quei semi riescono a rinnovarsi continuamente, sbocciando nuovamente ad ogni stagione.
Our garden, our college, was the first UWC college outside of the Anglosphere. Like Nelson Mandela, David Sutcliffe, and the first college team needed to remove many rocks in order to establish the college, which at the time was located only 2 kilometers away from the Iron Curtain. Financial problems, lack of scholarship fundings, and the war in Yugoslavia in early 1990s were all the struggles the college had to face. All these troubles that would appear like darkness in garden, Sutcliffe, Belci, Pontoni, and many others would remove, because the idea of this college seemed too important to be sacrificed. Among all the seeds Sutcliffe planted at UWC Adriatic, 3 were the ones that were dearest to him: a healing center, critical approach, and integrity. Placed in the trunk of Friuli Venezia Giulia region, our college had been a healing center of its surroundings. By providing scholarship to those who needed them, and by ensuring that people and students come from many countries around the world, socioeconomic as well as cultural diversity, took root into DNA of our college.
Sutcliffe voleva che gli alunni fossero pensatori critici, in grado di ribellarsi a qualsiasi ingiustizia che avrebbero incontrato. Tutti i suoi sforzi erano volti a coltivare la coscienza morale. Voleva che gli studenti diventassero cittadini consapevoli del loro dovere di parlare e far sentire la propria voce davanti a un'ingiustizia. Chi accetta scientemente la realtà delle cose vi si adegua, accettandone difficoltà e disuguaglianze. Ma chi interroga criticamente la quotidianità è in grado di dialogare con essa. E si sa, il dialogo è una potente arma di cambiamento. La domanda sostanziale che David Sutcliffe ci ha posto, come studenti e non solo, è quindi: dobbiamo fare la storia o dobbiamo subirla?
Lena Attelach or Christia Freeland are some of the seeds that grew here at the college. And now it is our time. The college was built with high aspirations and a strong belief in the power of education to make a real difference in the world. And we hence need to ensure to act as the change we wish to see. Peace comes through perseverance and speaking out for what is right. Peace begins with us, where we make these small changes. Petals form a flower, the same way all our differences and beauties form us. UWC Adriatic, as all the other UWCs, has been making education a force to unite people, nations, and cultures for a peace and sustainable future for 40 years now. This is why this day is so special to all of us here. Because today, we don't celebrate 10th, not 20th, not even 30th, but 40th anniversary of our college. Let us try to remember those dreams of roses and a prospect of grateful world. Hold fast to them. Cherish them in the midnight hours and live them in the morning. They are the best, the only hope for mankind. This college experienced difficulties, troubles, and joy, and it is still not finished. Although it has traveled 1,000,000 miles from its starting point, there are still further 1,000,000 miles to go. Thank you. Now, we want to introduce you to Sia Hamba from our UWC Adriatic choir, a song from South Africa in Zulu. The English translation of that song is, "We are marching in the light of God." Originally composed as a hymn, it became very much associated with the anti-apartheid movement and the struggle to overcome the regime of racism in South Africa. Nowadays, Sia Hamba is viewed both locally and internationally as a liberation song. As such, it is still performed not only in church and at concerts, but also at rallies, demonstrations, and processions, sometimes with the lyrics modified to match the cause of the event. In this way, the historic South African tune continues to contribute the current struggle to change. Now, I would like to introduce and welcome the choir and the members of choir to stage. Thank you very much.
Sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, oh sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, oh sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, 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 nyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, hamba sia hamba, hamba sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, nyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, hamba sia hamba, hamba sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, 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 nyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, hamba sia hamba, hamba sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, nyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, hamba sia hamba, hamba sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, 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 nyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, hamba sia hamba, hamba sia hamba kukanyeni kwenkos, nyeni kwenkos, sia hamba, hamba sia hamba, hamba sia hamba
Thank you so much to our wonderful choir. Invitiamo ora l'ambasciatore Cristina Ravaglia, presidente del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico, che ha alle spalle una lunga carriera al Ministero degli Esteri, a prendere la parola. L'impegno della presidente Ravaglia per il collegio è multiplo. Rappresenta il collegio all'esterno, si impegna per il reperimento delle borse di studio e ci aiuta a risolvere i tanti problemi pratici che ci riguardano, tra cui per esempio l'ottenimento dei visti di ingresso per arrivare a Duino.
Intanto grazie per essere qui e grazie a questo tempo meraviglioso preparatoci dal sindaco Godeas, evidentemente, tempo che non era scontato. Gentili autorità, sostenitori, amici del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico, che rendete possibile l'esistenza e il funzionamento di Adriatic. Cari studenti, ex studenti, insegnanti, staff, dipendenti, tutti del collegio, che siete Adriatic, che siete la nostra comunità sempre solida e viva. E cari duinesi, abbiamo qui il vice sindaco, che siete la nostra casa da 40 anni. Grazie ancora per accompagnarci anche oggi in questa giornata così solenne. Questi giorni, come faccio sempre quando vado al collegio, quando sono al collegio, mi sono mescolata con i nostri studenti, a mensa, nei corridoi, per le strade di Duino, e vedendoli interagire tra loro, così diversi, così da tutto il mondo come sono, e anche quelli del primo anno, appena arrivati, in realtà la scuola è cominciata da poco meno di un mese, ho avuto la conferma ennesima della bontà della scelta di questo luogo, dell'Ara Pacis Mundi di Medea, per celebrare il tradizionale Peace One Day dei collegi UWC, l'inizio dell'anno accademico 22-23 e allo stesso tempo dare il via alle celebrazioni per il 40° anniversario dell'attività del Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico. Considero un privilegio ed un onore che l'amministrazione comunale di Medea e il commissariato generale per le onoranze ai caduti, e ringrazio il sindaco Igor Godeas e il direttore del Sacrario Militare di Re di Puglia, il tenente colonnello Fioretti, che ci abbiano consentito, li ringrazio per averci consentito di raccoglierci qui oggi. E grazie alla città di Medea e all'ex sindaco Franco Stacul anche per averci proposto con il medeense maestro Mauro Maur un solista di grande livello che con la sua tromba ci accompagna in 2 momenti particolarmente solenni di questa celebrazione. È un regalo bellissimo, prezioso, ma ancor più prezioso per un collegio come il nostro, che ha nella musica uno dei suoi punti di forza. Pochi luoghi come questo, dunque, come dicevo prima, e come è veramente presente fortemente nel mio pensiero e nel mio cuore, questo è un luogo che raccoglie i caduti di tutte le guerre, da qualunque parte combattessero, indipendentemente quindi dalla parte che rappresentavano. Pochi luoghi come questo riescono a sintetizzare i valori della filosofia e dell'educazione UWC. E questo ancora di più in un momento in cui è ormai in corso da mesi una guerra tanto più terribile e minacciosa in Europa, perché vede il coinvolgimento diretto, tra l'altro, di una potenza nucleare. In questo anno accademico ne avete visto la materializzazione, la fisicità con le bandiere che entravano. Abbiamo presenti a Duino studenti provenienti da 81 paesi e dalle situazioni più disparate e disperate, direi. I nostri ragazzi arrivano in moltissimi casi da situazioni di guerra e da paesi in guerra e da paesi in guerra tra loro, tra l'altro, e in guerra tra loro da anni in molti casi, addirittura prima che nascesse il movimento UWC. Movimento UWC che merita, secondo me, una piccola sintesi, un piccolo ricordo. Perché? Che cos'è? Com'è nato? Kurt Hahn, che è pedagogo ebreo tedesco, un pedagogo ebreo tedesco che ha vissuto le 2 guerre mondiali e la persecuzione nazista, fu tra i fondatori del movimento UWC. E Kurt Hahn, ovviamente già pronto, già studioso, quindi con delle considerazioni e delle valutazioni scientifiche già fatte, ebbe la conferma empirica della bontà di quelle che erano i suoi studi, le sue conclusioni scientifiche, quando alla fine degli anni 50, partecipando a delle conferenze internazionali, vide dialogare tra loro e interagire in modo civile e costruttivo rappresentanti di paesi che fino a pochi anni prima erano stati nemici nella Seconda Guerra Mondiale. Sulla base anche di questa osservazione, non solo evidentemente, ma anche, questa fu la prova provata, Kurt Hahn elaborò definitivamente la conclusione che far crescere, istruire ed educare, sempre insieme, quindi vivendo in comunità e per un lungo periodo, dei giovani adulti, ragazzi diciamo tra i 16 e i 19 anni, che sono già individuati come appartenenza e come provenienza, che hanno ben chiare le loro origini e la loro appartenenza, ma che sono ancora flessibili, questo tipo di educazione avrebbe potuto favorire la pace ed un futuro sostenibile. Perché? Perché li avrebbe abituati al dialogo e all'ascolto dell'altro. Nei collegi del Mondo Unito è un dialogo continuo, permanente, su tutto, anche rappresentando posizioni diverse, ma si parla, ci si confronta e si rispettano le opinioni e le posizioni altrui. E questo quindi, tenendo conto anche del valore che l'esempio ha nell'educazione UWC ed il rilievo che vi viene dato all'azione concreta e positiva per migliorare il mondo da quello che ci è più vicino al mondo più grande, il mondo vero, avrebbe poi potuto avere un positivo effetto cascata. A questo si aggiunge quanto sintetizzato in modo potente da quel Nelson Mandela, da quello stesso Nelson Mandela che già i nostri studenti, Masters of Ceremonies, Giovanna e Michailo, ma non solo Masters of Ceremonies, hanno evocato, da quel Nelson Mandela che non a caso fu presidente onorario del movimento UWC per molti anni, disse, e la ricordo sempre perché secondo me è la frase fondamentale, per me è la frase che mi ha fatto essere qui oggi e in questi anni, che l'educazione è l'arma più potente che abbiamo per cambiare il mondo. Alla fine degli anni 70, profondamente convinti della bontà di questi valori, un piccolo gruppo di visionari, perché visionari erano, ma grazie al cielo erano visionari molto concreti, tra i quali voglio ricordare in particolare l'onorevole Corrado Belci, poi diventato il primo presidente di Adriatic. Questo piccolo gruppo di visionari concreti si batté per riuscire a finanziare, con i fondi della ricostruzione post-terremoto del Friuli, un collegio del Mondo Unito da collocare proprio sulla linea di confine tra l'est e l'ovest, a Duino. Diventava così anche fisicamente e geograficamente tangibile, realtà, l'obiettivo di costruire ponti per favorire il dialogo tra i popoli, che è proprio dei valori UWC e di tutti i collegi del movimento. Davvero dunque, peace begins with us, la pace comincia con noi. Io credo che il tema del Peace One Day 2022 sia straordinariamente concreto e calzante. La pace davvero comincia e sempre più deve cominciare in quel micromondo che è ogni collegio, che è il nostro collegio, per diffondersi nel mondo che ci ospita, da quello anche piccolo vicino a quello più grande. Di questi tempi difficili fare una scommessa positiva e di ottimismo, quasi di fede direi, non è facilissimo e non è scontato. Però 40 anni fa anche i nostri visionari concreti fecero una scommessa e l'hanno vinta. Quei visionari concreti che vollero un collegio del mondo unito a Duino. E con l'anno accademico 82-83, quindi giusto 40 anni fa, Adriatic cominciò a funzionare grazie al supporto allora ed ancora oggi fondamentale della Regione Friuli Venezia Giulia e dello Stato italiano attraverso il Ministero degli Esteri. A loro negli anni si sono uniti numerosissimi altri sostenitori ed amici, senza i quali semplicemente il collegio non potrebbe esistere e crescere come ha fatto nonostante le difficoltà, perché ci sono state in questi anni, e che qui ringrazio di tutto cuore. Grazie.
Thank you very much, President and Ambassador Ravaglia. Now, second-year student Brianna Cecilia Kili from Tanzania will read the second poem, From Exile to Exile, by the Yemeni poet Abdullah al-Baradoni, translated from Arabic by Diana Der Hovenesian and Sherif El Musa. Thank you very much.
From exile to exile. My country is handed over from one tyrant to the next, a worse tyrant. From one prison to another, from one exile to another. It is colonized by the observed invader and the hidden one. Handed over by one beast to two, like an emaciated camel. In the caverns of its death, my country neither dies nor recovers. It digs in the muted graves, looking for its pure origins, for its springtime promise that slept behind its eyes, for the dream that will come, for the phantom that hid. It moves from one overwhelming night to a darker night. My country grieves in its own boundaries and in other people's lands, and even on its own soil, suffers the alienation of exile.
Thank you very much, Brianna. It is our pleasure to have Muhammad Abdullah, a second-generation Palestinian alumnus of the college 1983-1985, and Fatima El Maliani, a former Italian student who graduated in 2019, to address you. The college community on the team, UWC Adriatic, through space and time. Muhammad is also here with his wife Susan, 1984-1986 generation alumna, who we greet. Now, we invite Muhammad to come to the podium.
Good morning, everybody. Buongiorno a tutti, grazie a quelli che non parlano inglese. Vi annoierete di meno, vi assicuro. Sono veramente I'm sorry, I'm speaking Italian. It's quite incredible. It's been 40 years. The college has been in place, and I was here right at the very beginning when Duino was just a little town. It might not be relevant to some of you because I'm probably not just older than some of your parents, but I was at the college before some of your parents were born. So how is this relevant to you? I hope that you'll find it relevant, and if not, I think Valentina has a box of rotten tomatoes you can throw at me afterwards. So 40 years ago, These were really, really pioneering days. Not only David Sutcliffe and Pontoni and Belci were here, we were here. And we had to collaborate to make the college happen, to make that reality happen. When we arrived, all we had was a half-finished foresteria and the Hotel Ajip, which is now abandoned. In foresteria, we had 2 working bathrooms per floor and a small kitchen. So there was a lot of smells going around from both places. We had no washing machines. We had no school building, no library, no Mensa. We had to, wash clothes by our hands and maybe some help with from some of our Duino neighbors and friends. No Mensa, as I said. So the Hotel Ajip became our main place of existence, not just our campus. More than half of the students lived there. All of our classes were there. If you can imagine in a hotel that actually functioned as a hotel while we were there. We had all of our meals there. So I used to feel sorry for the guests of the hotel who were paying customers and the staff who had to deal with these kids running around causing all sorts of mayhem day and night. But at least they ate at the restaurant of the hotel, which was pretty decent and a lot better than the so-called food that Ajib gave us. So we ended up a lot of times going to what we called Bar Europa back then, and now Mickey Mouse, which I think made a killing on the students with all of their panini, and they went on and created more panini, and the students would have them create more things. I remember the panino Soraya, which has salami picante. Soraya liked things picante. And then my wife, Susan, came later and made that even salame più piccante ancora. We had no phones, no internet. We had to rely on the Italian postal service, okay? We wrote something called letters. I don't know if some of you remember what those are. You might have read about them in history books or something. We would write a letter, send it home to your parents, let's say. It arrived a month later. Then your mom or dad or friend or whoever wrote you back, and that letter would arrive a month later. So it took 2 months to communicate. There was no such thing as instant communication back then. But we really didn't care about these things. We were having the time of our lives. We were having a lot of fun. It was, as I said, very pioneering. We studied very hard. The IB is serious business, but we also played very hard. We tried all sorts of things, new customs, new foods. I remember walking into Foresteria Day Room one day with this awful, horrible smell coming out. It wasn't from the bathroom, it was from the kitchen. Somebody was cooking some sort of a seaweed salad or something. I also remember, things like Scandinavian Evening, when some of our fellow students performed the Scandinavian balloon dance, naked. So that evening became known as Scandal Evening, not Scandinavian Evening. We argued about everything, politics and history and philosophy and literature. We stayed up late at night studying for the IB or singing songs. We learned from our teachers, of course, but we also learned from each other, very, very importantly. We really broke the shackles that our own cultures, each one of us, puts on us, right? We opened our minds to new possibilities. A friend of mine, when I was preparing for this, who was a fellow student back at the time, she said this: she felt free like never before. She felt free to explore and share ideas without fear of judgment of her own person. Because that's what UWC is all about. We didn't really understand what we were doing back then, right? We were just kids having fun. But we were building something very, very special, something unique, I feel, in this world. Something that we all belong to here, everybody. The ex-students, the staff, the fundraising, the assessori, la regione, tante grazie. Duino residents. We all had to collaborate to transform this crazy, ambitious idea into a reality. And that reality is one international community, a community that has really no parallels anywhere in the world. 40 years later, here we are, and I'm a member of a WhatsApp group for my years in Duino, and we have over 300 people in that, all ex-students. And even today, we still talk and discuss and laugh and share jokes and cry when, one of us just lost her father yesterday. We fundraise, we help others. We've organized for all sorts of things recently, because that's what the college is all about. It's about making you a better citizen of the world. For me, this experience changed everything, except for me, my height. I was born and raised in Sabra and Shatila, in a Palestinian refugee camp in Lebanon. I won a scholarship that the college organized, for which 100 other Palestinian students applied. And after a horrible journey, I arrived to Foresteria Courtyard. Some kids from the college came to pick me up at the airport, and this door, the door of the Foresteria suddenly flung open, and this tall girl comes out, running out and saying, "Where is he? Where is he?" She looks at me, I was the new guy, and she hugs me really, really closely. Now, this was a very, very beautiful young woman, much taller than me, and rather pronounced curves. And she's hugging me really closely. And I was really enjoying it. That was the first time in my life that my head was that close to a woman's bosom who wasn't my mom or my aunt. And I'm thinking, this is great. This is a really nice place. And I wonder what part 2 of this reception will be. Then part 2 came about. She pulls me over, she says, "Hi, I'm Claudia, I'm from Israel. I'm very happy to meet a Palestinian." I was speechless. "Here, let me take you to your room," she said. And she pulls me up, literally, up the stairs in Foresteria to room 2. She knocks on the door, opens the door, and says, "This is Chaim. He's going to be your roommate. He's from Israel too. Isn't that great?" And I'm thinking, I'm not so sure. I didn't say a word. I was more than speechless. I was just in shock. See, at the time, this is 1983. I'm this kid from a Palestinian refugee camp that a year earlier had a horrible massacre where thousands of Palestinians were slaughtered by phalangists with Israeli support. So I thought Israelis had horns and tails and just, loved to kill Palestinians for sport, for enjoyment. And here I am, sharing a room for the first year with an Israeli. So that was UWC. That is UWC. Chaim and I never really became very good friends. We were just two different people. Our personalities were very different. But we learned a lot from each other. At least I learned a lot from him. He would bring his friends and we'd be sitting in room 2, I'm sure you all know, is extremely small. And he'd be telling them what Israel is and what the Palestinians are or aren't. And it was extremely educational for me, even though it might not have been very easy to hear some of the things he said about us. But we learned to live each other. And I learned a lot about Jews and about Israel and what they think about Palestinians and why, and where his family came from and how, his camp, his kibbutz was shelled every now and then by Palestinians and things like that. Fast forward a couple of years, and one of my best friends, I stayed here for 3 years don't worry about it, why? Had an accident, couldn't. So I stayed for 2.5 years, really. And at the tail end of that, my best friend at the time was a guy in his second year who was a Jew from Canada, Tyler. And Tyler introduces me to this young girl coming in for her first year from the college named Susan. Susan came from a small conservative town in the United States. Her exposure to the world was close to minimal. All the news she heard on her news media was, at least back then, was all pro-Israeli, etc. She thought Palestinians were some mysterious group that just liked to kill Jews inexplicably. So the first thing she asked me when we were left alone was, what is a Palestinian? So by then I had sort of had rehearsed and, a little spiel about what Palestinians are, and I could explain our people and our history, at least according to my perspective. And I must have explained it really well, because 3 years later she married me. Right here in Trieste. And then we moved to the US a little while later, and we had another wedding with her family in a small Catholic church in southern Texas. The priest was just beyond incredulous. He couldn't believe his ears. So he had a Muslim groom, a Catholic bride, and Tyler, the Jew, as my best man. And to us, it was like, this is UWC. It was normal. Because that is UWC. The learning that this college gives you is crucial to overcoming all the at least for us, the mountain of difficulties that we faced. We've been married 33 years. We fought through poverty and racism and religious differences and cultural differences. And the Arabs had looked at me funny because I married an American, and the Americans and the other Westerners who looked at her for marrying an Arab, and even my father, who opposed our marriage for decades. But we always found a way to move forward and get on top of all of these problems. And because of a lot of the things that the college taught us. The words international understanding may not seem very easy for you to understand, at least some of you. They might seem too idealistic or too vague or too compromising. But beyond what they actually are, it's all about what the experience that this college gives you. It's an experience like no other in the world. There's no other school, boarding, international, forget it. There's no other place that gives you this type of education. UWC took a small-town American girl with few prospects and a Palestinian refugee with 0 prospects and helped us to make this world our own, to adapt, to discover, to enjoy living in, I think last count was something like 17 cities in 7 countries over 4 continents, to build successful international careers, to realize ourselves, to realize our potentials as human beings. And this is not just because of us or just for us or about us too. As I said, my WhatsApp group has over 300 people. And as I look at them and other people that we've met over the years, I'm at awe at the accomplishments we have made. Somebody mentioned Krista. That's great. I love Krista. She was my first year. But also look at the smaller contributions that people make in small communities, day in and day out. The doctor that goes and volunteers in a hospital, the little communities that fundraise for refugees, now from Ukraine, before from Serbia or from God knows where. All of these things are driven by the UWC ideals. And that's what I hope you all get from this. That's how we change the world. That's how you will change your little corner of it. You are the lucky ones that have made it here, okay? A lot of people applied to be sitting where you are right now. And you're the ones who have this privilege, this opportunity. So please enjoy it. Have fun with it. And take every ounce of education, whether it's IB or cultural or religious or differential, that this place will give you. That's how we change the world. That's how you will change the world around you. And that's how we make this place a much better place. Thank you very much.
Mohammed, thank you very much for these truly inspiring words. And now let us invite Fatima to speak.
Grazie. Okay. Hello, hi everybody, ciao a tutti. My name is Fatima, I'm 22 years old. I come from Italy, but I was born to a Moroccan family in Morocco. I'm so happy to be here today. I finally came back home. I came back to my place, to my people, to my residents, to my Mensa ladies, to some of my teachers, to my mood and to my memories. And this makes me really happy. So thank you all for giving me once again the chance to see all of this. It's really beautiful. Today is a pretty special day, isn't it? So many flags around, so many people celebrating peace and spreading some of the love that is very needed at the moment. And you guys are doing it so good. And I want to thank you really again for being all here. I see all of you celebrating the beauty of diversity, wearing your national dresses, and perhaps someone feeling a little homesick with it. But you see all of you in here today standing together, celebrating something that someone thinks should divide you is greatly inspiring. So again, thank you. You guys are the alive representation of what this place means and has meant to me, and you're doing it greatly. And back to the beauty of you and of us all today, I think it is worth spending some time on reflecting over what is our role in here and in the college. What I believe we are having today here is a big life lesson. We are all very young, and at a very young age decided to pack our stuff, put it in a bag, leave our home, perhaps shut down some of the fear, as I did, and leave our comfort zone, and come to a place with new people, to live a new life, to a place we've never been before, and we're all doing it. You guys are doing it. And you're ready to share some of your years and months with people you don't know, with people with different habits, different cultures, different thoughts and convictions that perhaps might clash with your own. And it is true that we're celebrating peace, but the kind of peace I think we are celebrating is the one we're building all together in here. And I think that's truly inspiring. I still remember my first days at the college. I remember I was so happy because a girl would come and pick me up from the bus station in Trieste. And I remember once off of the bus, this girl from Hong Kong, Hermione, she was running to me with this hot chocolate brioche and coming and screaming all around, "Hey, Fatima, welcome to Duino. This is your breakfast." I was like, thank you. That was weird, you know. That was not something I have experienced before. And then after a 20 minutes ride with the bus to the college, I got off once again from the bus. I think, the bus is a big memory of my experience at the college. And so many people saying, "Hey, benvenuta, ciao, welcome to Duino," all over Piazza. And then I remember the same night, my buddy, he was from Nigeria, insisted so much. He wanted me so badly to go with him and get an ice cream. And I was a little afraid. I mean, that was my first day. And when we got out together, he asked me about my life, my dreams, my experiences, and he told me about his. And I must admit that at the end of the week, the only question that was smashing my head was, what is going on with these people? Yeah. You know, I could not see the reality of this place at the beginning. And if I have to be honest, even before coming, it just looked so unrealistic and utopian to me. You know, so many people living together, sharing place, sharing life, sharing hobbies, free time, food. Yeah, I could imagine it would be a place with, you know, people coming from different countries, an international place. But I also predicted so many issues and miscomprehensions, which I guess there are. But still, I was so sure it would be a place with very, very little space for dialogue. But I was clearly wrong. The story of Mohammed actually reminds me of that of Irene and Moore, two girls from Palestine and Israel. And I clearly remember the devotion and energy that they spent in every single project, conference, focus, lunch break, evening tea to talk about their story. And they taught me something that I'm actually carrying on with me still today. And that is, symbolically speaking, although the world around you and everybody thinks and wants you to think that two colors could never match, if you have even the slight feeling that they might, then go for it and do it. And this is what they did. This is what Blair did. This is what Hala, Siham, and many, many others I met in this place did. but it also reminds me, your story, of those warm moments in which we unconsciously built our community. And those open mics where people and students were reading poems, sharing thoughts, and I don't know how, but at some point it always ended in either having Spanish speakers singing Cara Luna, or having everybody standing in a huggy circle and singing Bella Ciao out loud. Those places and those moments and those people remarkably signed my life, and I learned that there were things more important than those I thought were. I learned there are people with stories, and I learned I was given the chance to hear those stories, and I should have taken advantage of that. I learned I had a great responsibility after the college, and that was not to forget all that I have seen and lived in this place. I can tell you that because of this, once out, it was just so hard to give a sense and justify all that is going on outside of here. When I first came to the college again in 2017, I thought I was so sure of who I am and who I wanted to be. My ideals and my values were crystal clear to me, and they still are, but something at some point just changed. And I thought, at the beginning, I thought I was who I was because I was talked about so much and not because I was famous or anything. But I clearly knew I was an Italian girl living in Italy. A Moroccan girl, sorry. Yeah, I wish. A Moroccan girl living in Italy, therefore not an Italian. I knew I was a Muslim. I knew I was an extra to an already built and solid society to which I eventually owed a favor for having hosted me for so many years and educated me. And I knew I was one of those people over which thousands of fights and discussions and arguments and debates go on every single day. I knew I was the object of all of that. And it was just like being forced to identify myself within a pictures I did not draw. It was the idea of me, which somehow between lines was telling me that I could not do something that was not prescribed to me. I could not go beyond certain limits because otherwise I would get out of my person. So I was someone for whom specific things were thought, and that was it. Perhaps I never seriously thought about it, but day after day, while being at the college and sharing days and months with these people, I started seriously and deeply wondering. This place has offered me the great opportunity to be heard and to be understood, the possibility to risk it with my ideas, and the place to plan and dream them. It has offered me the privilege of having adults that is really hard to find, adults willing to listen to me and to give space to my thoughts and do it not with a compliant attitude, but actually being interested in what I was saying. And it gave me also that sense of responsibility and possibility that is hard to find outside of here. So I really want you guys to take advantage of all of this as much as you can. I realized that who I wanted to be was a little bit outside of that picture. Actually, it was totally outside, nothing to do with it, and found no way to justify that sense of inappropriateness at the beginning. So I started wondering whether I was already supposed to fail or whether it was worth trying to draw my own picture. And I started drawing it here at the college. I realized that thanks to my 2 years in this place, very often we underestimate our right and our duty to be subjects of our stories and no more objects. I realized that I had to talk about myself and let nobody do it for me. And as many others, I became the subject of mine. UWC is a huge movement, but I believe the real change is the people inside it. It comes from who lives it, from who experiences it. And I want to tell you that it is crucial, important, that you listen to every single story from the experience of your friends in this place, to take all advices from your teachers, to take advantage of all opportunities you are offered, to learn things you always thought you wouldn't like, and to ask questions you're afraid of, because this place, as it has done with me, will give you a lot of space for yourself. It will give you a lot of options, a lot of possibilities, a lot of opportunities, just as it had with me. And it is up to you to choose what to do with all of that. This place puts together so many of us. It's useless to say. It reunites people with different lifestyles, habits, conventions, beliefs, cornerstones. It puts together different life experience, different stories. It puts all of this together and it lets it be. And that's when the magic happens. And this is the result. UWC is something that shows your result can work. It can be there. It is hard. It is frustrating at times. It can be disappointing, but the result is beautiful and it is powerful, just as you guys are today. But once out, you might feel a little overwhelmed, a little laughed upon with your ideas. But still, it has taught me that it is possible, and I chose to try it and go on with it. Thank you.
Grazie di cuore, Fatima. Ora lo studente del secondo anno dal Friuli Venezia Giulia, Julian Marz, leggerà la poesia I fiumi del poeta italiano Giuseppe Ungaretti, scritta durante la sua permanenza in questa regione come soldato della Prima Guerra Mondiale.
I fiumi. Zotici, il 16 agosto 1916. Mi tengo a quest'albero mutilato, abbandonato in questa dolina, che è l'anguore di un circo, prima o dopo lo spettacolo. E guardo il passaggio quieto delle nuvole sulla luna. Stamani mi sono disteso in un'urna d'acqua e come una reliquia ho riposato. L'isonzo, scorrendo, mi levigava come un suo sasso. Ho tirato su le mie 4 ossa e me ne sono andato come un acrobata sull'acqua. Mi sono accoccolato vicino ai miei panni, sudici di guerra, e come un beduino mi sono chinato a ricevere il sole. Questo è l'isonzo, e qui meglio mi sono riconosciuto, una docile fibra dell'universo. Il mio supplizio è quando non mi credo in armonia, ma quelle occulte mani che mi intridono mi regalano la rara felicità. Ho ripassato le epoche della mia vita. Questo è il cerchio al quale ho attinto, 2000 anni forse, di gente mia campagnola, e mio padre e mia madre. Questo è il Nilo, che mi ha visto nascere e crescere e ardere d'inconsapevolezza nelle distese pianure. Questa è la Senna, e in quel suo torpito mi sono rimescolato e mi sono conosciuto. Questi sono i miei fiumi, contati nell'isonzo. Questa è la mia nostalgia, che in ognuno mi traspare, ora che notte, che la mia vita mi pare una corolla di tenebre.
Grazie Julian. E adesso vorrei invitare il maestro Mauro Maur a regalarci ancora qualche minuto della sua tromba sulle note del celebre brano Gabriel Sobo.
Che gente meravigliosa davanti a me. che gioia essere qui. Avete ben compreso che questo non era certamente Gabriel's Trumpet di Ennio Morricone, non Gabriel's Oboe, perché Ennio Morricone mi ha dedicato e ha scritto in forma di concerto un brano per questa tromba che vedete che ha un formato speciale per questo. Ma questa mia camminata e questa mia improvvisazione mi è venuta così spontanea, e vi prego di scusarmi, vedendo tutte queste persone che vengono dall'Africa. Care signore e signori, non dimentichiamo che la musica è nata là. Noi ce l'abbiamo messa tutta. L'Italia, e beh, certamente, tutta l'Europa, i neri che sono arrivati in America, tutto è nato. La musica non ha confini. Io ho veduto queste persone meravigliose, questi ragazzi meravigliosi che hanno fatto tanta strada, ai quali voi date le possibilità più grandi per esprimersi e per crescere e per stare tra di loro, così differenti di educazione, di nascita e di creazione pura. Gli ho detto a quei pochi che potevo dirgli quanto mi sentirò solo a suonare Mission davanti a tutte queste persone, le meravigliose persone, ma sono giovani, non hanno il coraggio di venire dietro a me a improvvisare. E allora fa niente. Io, se permettete, Mission è un tema troppo importante. Musicalmente è una grande composizione, ma soprattutto è ciò che voi tutti, docenti, inventori di questa realtà, quelli che avete creato e che sostenete questa cosa, rappresentate. E allora, ecco, se permettete, Mission di Ennio Morricone.
Thank you very much, Maestro Mauro, for this incredible piece. Now, finally, we invite the Rettore of UWC Adriatic, Dr. Khaled El-Matal, to take the podium for his speech.
Buongiorno a tutti e benvenuti. Sono lieto di iniziare il mio mandato come rettore al Collegio del Mondo Unito dell'Adriatico. Spero un giorno fare un discorso in italiano, ma purtroppo questo giorno non è oggi. Perché non voglio massacrare questa lingua, questa bella lingua, l'italiano. Allora preferisco continuare in inglese. It's very difficult to come right at the end of a ceremony after having heard so many wonderful speeches. And obviously, the music that we have just heard is something that touches me right here, and I'm sure it has touched you as well. One of the themes that we have been hearing today is community. And I feel truly privileged to be part of this very special community that, of course, includes everyone here, but also includes the 3,716 alumni that over the past 40 years have been acting as ambassadors for the college and the United World College education program. Also, and at the heart of our community, are all the teaching and non-teaching staff who today and over the years have been driven by an unwavering desire to make a profound difference to the lives of young people. Their contributions and your contributions live on as part of the collective story of the college. Our community also includes the people of this proud region, who also play an important role in the education of the students at UWC Adriatic. In fact, the much-cited African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," could not be more true than in the context of our students at Adriatic, as they live and learn surrounded by the warm and welcoming people of the village of Duino and the region. UWC Adriatic, like the other 17 schools and colleges within the movement, was built on the belief that peace and a sustainable future are universal goals that will ensure the continued survival and prosperity of our species, as well as that of our planet. These goals underpin our efforts each and every day as we strive to provide a transformative educational experience that touches the hearts and minds of the students who are in our care. This has been the work of this college for the past 40 years, and the United World College movement as a whole for the past 60 years, because today we also celebrate the 60th anniversary of the United World College movement. Listening to the words of Muhammad and Fatima, we got a sense of how, as an institution, UWC Adriatic has evolved over the years, as it has adapted to the changes of the past 4 decades, while at the same time maintaining a sense of continuity through its mission that is as relevant today as it was at the college's inception in 1982. One way to look at the college's achievements is to consider the extent to which we try to live by our values. As a relative newcomer to the college, I will try and illustrate what I mean by sharing just a couple of observations that have struck me over the past few weeks. As a community, we value diversity and the different ways it can be expressed. Today, we saw this value expressed by the rich diversity that exists within our community in the flag display at the start of the ceremony. The diverse range of countries represented is indeed something to be proud of. But perhaps what the flags do not necessarily show are the less visible elements of cultural diversity that we have here at Adriatic. For example, the broad range of our students' life experiences and their personal beliefs. In the very short time that I have been here, I have witnessed how these young people are learning to accept and value the things that make them unique, and also how to communicate that unique sense of self to others in the hope of gaining mutual understanding and a genuine respect for one another. The second example relates to student agency, which is something that has always been valued at the college. Again, I have witnessed firsthand every single day student-led initiatives that have been well organized and engaging. I have witnessed many student-led discussions that demonstrate a high level of maturity and sophistication. Even today, I am sure you will agree that our two co-masters of ceremonies, Giovanna and Mihailo, have played an instrumental role in ensuring the smooth running of this event and have shown us that young people, when entrusted with real responsibility, are more than capable of rising to the challenge. And I think they deserve a special round of applause for everything they've done. However, we must remember that the achievements of UWC Adriatic, as significant as they may be, are but a step towards the mission of the college. Our 40th anniversary is also a time to look with courage and wisdom to the future and challenges that the future presents. If history has taught us anything, it has shown us that complacency is the enemy of peace and sustainability. Therefore, our task as a college continues to be one of active striving towards these goals. And the monument that hosts us here today should act as a constant reminder to us of all the terrible and devastating consequences that could befall us if we choose to abandon them. We have repeatedly heard today the clear message that peace and sustainability begin with us as individuals. This is no soundbite. This is a call for continued action. Yet, I'm a believer that impactful action requires effective planning. It is with this in mind that last year the college developed key working documents such as Sustainability Strategy and the Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Action Plan in order to move our agenda forward. Today, our community is engaged in the process of bringing these documents to life. This afternoon, we will be participating in a variety of activities that resonate not only with the theme of UWC Day, which is Peace Begins With Us, but also with the inscription that is written on the urn that lies in the Arapachis monument. Hatred produces death. Love generates life. So our activities will include service in our local community, as well as workshops to help us learn about national and cultural traditions, the importance of an inclusive world, and the art of listening for conflict resolution. I sincerely believe that these steps, however small they may seem, do bring us closer towards a more peaceful world, as they represent the building blocks of an education for peace. On this note, and without any further ado, it is with great joy and emotion that I declare the 40th academic year of UWC Adriatic open. And personally, I can think of no better way to begin 2022-2023 than to ask the choir to perform one final piece for this ceremony. Dona nobis pacem, a canon that has often been sung by people striving for peace. After the choir, I invite you all to join us for some lunch and conversation here in Medea. Therefore, please can I ask the choir to take the stage. Thank you very much.